The DJI Neo 2 is widely recognized for its lightweight design, nimble flight, and overall ease of use. But one aspect of this drone has consistently frustrated users: its battery life. While DJI advertises up to 18 minutes of flight time, the reality is far less forgiving. In typical real-world conditions, most pilots find themselves landing after only 10 to 12 minutes. Even under ideal conditions, achieving the advertised 18 minutes is extremely rare. This short flight window affects every part of the flying experience. Shots get cut short, exploration is constantly interrupted, and every flight feels like a race against the battery meter. For a drone that thrives on relaxed, enjoyable flying, this limitation is significant. So, I want to hear from you. What's your real-world flight time with the Neo 2? Have you ever missed a shot because the battery ran out too soon? Or have you found ways to stretch your flying time? Share your experiences in the comments. I'm curious to see how other pilots are dealing with this common issue. The limitations of the stock battery, therefore, have always been the Neo 2's most glaring weakness. Recognizing this gap, third-party manufacturers have developed higher capacity batteries for the Neo 2. The most notable upgrade is a 3,300 mAh battery, nearly double the stock unit's capacity. This is not a minor modification. For a small drone like the Neo 2, increasing battery capacity has meaningful implications. The difference between 11 minutes and even 16 or 17 minutes of flight time is not minor, it is transformative. That extra 5 to 6 minutes changes how often you have to land, how you plan each flight, and whether the drone feels like a functional tool or a constrained toy. Pilots often express a single sentiment: if the Neo 2 could reliably fly for 16 to 17 minutes, it would be a game changer. Every other feature, from image quality to stabilization, suddenly feels more useful when the drone stays in the air longer. More energy means longer flight times, but it also comes with trade-offs that must be considered carefully. The first concern is weight. One of the Neo 2's key strengths is its light and responsive design. Adding mass changes the dynamics. A heavier drone may feel less nimble, respond more slowly to controls, and handle wind differently. However, the real question is whether these changes are enough to outweigh the benefit of substantially longer flight times. Another critical factor is compatibility. Modified or third-party batteries can sometimes cause firmware errors, inaccurate battery readings, or unexpected warnings. If the drone does not fully recognize the battery as legitimate, the upgrade quickly becomes more trouble than it's worth. Charging behavior is equally important. Higher capacity batteries require longer charging cycles and can stress charging systems if not designed carefully. An extended flight time loses much of its appeal if charging becomes inconvenient or unreliable. Users considering this upgrade must evaluate whether the added complexity and cost are justified by the benefits. To understand the real-world impact of the high-capacity Neo 2 battery, it is helpful to compare it against the stock unit under controlled testing conditions. Indoor hover tests remove variables such as wind, altitude changes, and pilot input, providing a clear baseline for battery performance. With the stock battery installed, the Neo 2 was able to hover without input until forced landing at around 10% battery, resulting in approximately 12 minutes of flight. This aligns closely with what most users report in daily use. When the upgraded 3,300 mAh battery is installed, the same test yields just over 18 minutes of hover time. This represents a 6-minute increase under ideal conditions, showing that the added capacity directly translates to longer airtime and is not negated by additional weight. Outdoor testing provides the most realistic picture of drone performance. In this scenario, the Neo 2 was flown at consistent speeds across varying altitudes until battery levels reached the critical threshold for forced landing. With the stock battery, outdoor flight time reached just under 11 minutes, slightly shorter than the indoor test due to wind resistance and active maneuvering. With the high-capacity battery, the same flight extended to just under 18 minutes. This additional 7 minutes in real-world conditions is significant. It places the drone squarely within the range of flight time that users have long requested, transforming how the Neo 2 feels during normal operations. The added time allows for more relaxed flights, longer exploration, and less focus on constantly monitoring the battery indicator. While the benefits of the upgrade are clear, the trade-offs must be acknowledged. The heavier battery does impact the Neo 2's weight, which in turn affects efficiency and wind handling. The motors work harder to lift the extra mass, but this increased load is offset by the longer power supply. In practical terms, the drone retains much of its characteristic responsiveness and does not feel compromised during flight. Users report that the increased flight time outweighs any minor loss in agility or efficiency. The upgrade cost is higher than the standard battery, and shipping can take longer, as it is typically sourced from third-party vendors rather than official DJI channels. However, for pilots whose primary frustration has been short battery life, these considerations are minor compared to the gain in usable flight time. The high-capacity battery also resolves a key limitation that previously shaped how the Neo 2 was flown. With the stock battery, users often found themselves rushing shots or landing before a moment of opportunity could be fully captured. Longer flight times remove this constant pressure, making the Neo 2 feel more capable and versatile. The extra airtime changes the perception of the drone from a toy-like gadget to a genuinely practical, small UAV for content creation and recreational flying. The battery upgrade essentially delivers the version of the Neo 2 that users envisioned when the drone was first released, but were unable to achieve due to its limited stock battery performance. In summary, the Neo 2's stock battery consistently underdelivers relative to advertised flight time, averaging 10 to 12 minutes under real-world conditions. This limitation affects every aspect of drone use, from planning flights to capturing content. The introduction of a 3,300 mAh high-capacity battery addresses this problem directly, extending flight time to nearly 18 minutes in realistic outdoor conditions. While the upgrade adds weight, increases cost, and introduces some minor compatibility considerations, the practical benefits far outweigh these trade-offs. Longer flight time allows for more relaxed flying, extended exploration, and a more satisfying overall experience. For pilots frustrated by the Neo 2's battery constraints, this upgrade represents a substantial improvement and fundamentally changes how the drone can be used. By extending the Neo 2's flight time to nearly 18 minutes, the high-capacity battery transforms the drone's usability. It allows pilots to fly with confidence, capture more extensive footage, and enjoy a more immersive experience without constantly worrying about battery limits. Even with added weight and higher cost, the trade-offs are manageable, and the performance gains are undeniable. The upgrade does not fundamentally alter what the Neo 2 is, but enhances it in a way that aligns with the expectations of its users. For those who have struggled with short flight times, this battery upgrade is a practical, impactful solution that restores the Neo 2 to the level of performance that its design promises. Ultimately, the high-capacity battery changes the conversation around the Neo 2. Instead of being defined by its limitations, the drone can now deliver the type of flight experience that pilots expect. Longer hover and flight times provide breathing room, reduce stress during shooting, and allow users to focus on enjoying the drone rather than monitoring battery percentages. The upgrade proves that for a small, lightweight drone, battery capacity is not just a number, it is the defining factor in whether the drone is fun, usable, and capable. For any Neo 2 pilot who has felt frustrated by the short battery life, this modification transforms the drone into the version it was always meant to be, offering more freedom, more flexibility, and more enjoyable flying overall. From my perspective, the high-capacity Neo 2 battery really changes the game. It takes the drone from being something you have to babysit and worry about constantly to something that feels genuinely capable. Those extra 6 to 7 minutes of flight time might not sound like a lot on paper, but in practice, they completely shift how you fly. You're no longer cutting shots short, stressing about landing, or rushing to get the perfect angle. Instead, you can explore more, experiment more, and actually enjoy the process of flying. Yes, it adds a little weight and costs more, but for anyone who's been frustrated by the Neo 2's stock battery, this is arguably the single most impactful upgrade available right now. Now I want to hear from you. Would you go for the high-capacity battery, even with the extra cost and weight? Or would you stick with the stock battery and deal with the shorter flight times? Maybe you've already tried an alternative upgrade or have your own tricks for squeezing more time out of the Neo 2. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to see which option you think makes the most sense and how you balance performance versus convenience.